name is Emily, and I am a 90s kid. I grew up watching The Simpsons, listening to the Spice Girls, and eating turkey Twizzlers. I also grew up playing the PlayStation 2. I firmly believe that the PlayStation 2 is the greatest video game system of all time, and that's not just because I spent my entire childhood playing it. As a kid, I spent a lot of time playing video games on the PlayStation 2, but the three big ones were Grand Theft Auto Vice City, the best Grand Theft Auto game; Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, the best Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game; and 007 Agent Under Fire. Now, those first two games are well-known classics. GTA Vice City is the fourth best-selling PlayStation 2 game ever, and according to IGN, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 is the best PlayStation 2 game ever made. But 007 Agent Under Fire? Well, it's not exactly a well-remembered classic, is it? It has an okay history. It has 71% on Metacritic, and it was the 67th best-selling PlayStation 2 game. But still, it isn't exactly a top-tier PlayStation 2 game, is it? You don't see it on many lists for the best PS2 game ever made. The game definitely had its detractors when it was first released as well. It was even a runner-up in GameSpot's Most Disappointing Game of the Year award. Now, a few months ago, I decided to play 007 Agent Under Fire on my Twitch channel, Emily_Shadows, and I posted about it on Instagram and Twitter. And I was really surprised by the amount of people messaging me saying how much they loved that game as a child as well. This was surprising to me because I thought I was alone in my love of this game. So why was this game loved by so many people back in the day, and why is it not very well remembered now? Well, let's go back in time to 2001 and take a look at this forgotten PS2 classic. Developed by EA, 007 Agent Under Fire was the first James Bond game to be released on the PS2. It was an early PS2 game as well, being released only 1 year after the release of the console, so looking back now, the graphics aren't very good. Textures can be very low quality and the rooms seem very open and square and boxy. There isn't a whole lot of detail going on. This means that when the game tries to show off these sexy Bond girls, it is even more hilariously awkward, especially because this was a big selling point for the game, taking up a prominent section on the back of the box. So with that in mind, let's take a quick break to look at the pixelated objectification of women in this game.
In the meantime, you can enjoy the view.
I already am. Nice fall.
Sorry, I got a bit distracted there. Let's get back to the game. Considering the time period, I think the game looks really good, and you can tell a lot of work went into it. I really like the design of the Walther PPK, although here it gets called the P2K, which I'm guessing is for licensing reasons. But anyway, I think it looks good, and I appreciate that they put the work into it. Aside from graphics though, the game does have other problems, especially with difficulty and scaling. There is one level late on in the game called Forbidden Depths. It is an on-rails shooter and it is hard. This level was the bane of my life as a kid, and I am sure I am not the only person who feels like this. It took me actual months to beat that level and see the rest of the game. On the flip side however, there are certain parts of the game, like specific boss fights, that are way too easy. Take this mini-boss in level 4. He doesn't move around, he doesn't do a lot of damage, and he fires very slowly. 3 shots from your gun will take him down. If you stand perfectly still and press the fire button 3 times, you will win. The difficulty is generally a straight line between easy and hard, but with random spikes either way. Now let's briefly discuss the plot of the game. A CIA agent, Zoe Nightshade, fantastic name by the way, is undercover in Hong Kong investigating a biochemical company that she thinks is a front for weapon smuggling. So far, so Bond-like. She gets kidnapped and it's up to James Bond to go and save her because America always needs Britain's help, apparently. That's not even a joke, that's the reason they give in the game.
We saw this as an opportunity to help out our American friends.
So James steals a bunch of vials that Zoe wanted that are this game's MacGuffin.
I've located the vials Nightshade was looking for. Now I just need to find Nightshade herself.
Zoe then gets blown up by a bazooka, while James Bond, who was stood 3 feet away, is perfectly fine.
She's dead, 007.
The vials get stolen back, and James needs to go after them again. The vials, as it turns out, contain the blood of world leaders, and they are being used to create clones so that they can create a really successful lookalike business. No, it's to take over the world. Shockingly. It is then James Bond's job to kill the clones, save the day, and sex the lady. I never really paid attention to the plot as a kid. I just wanted to do cool James Bond stuff. I didn't really care about the why. Now though, paying attention to the plot, it is over the top and silly, but it's also very well crafted with twists and turns, and it's very James Bond. So that's the basics out of the way. Now let's talk about why I love this game so much. Well, it's a fun, simple first-person shooter, and really that's probably enough on its own. However, the game does have a lot of little extra bits that make it more than just a linear shooter. Let's take the first level, for example. It is a simple get from point A to point B and kill all the bad guys, but there are some extra things you can do on the way. When you get to this corner, for example, the game specifically shows you that there is an explosive barrel on the truck.
Fireworks.
So you can either go around the corner and shoot all the bad guys, or you can just shoot that explosive barrel and you get a nice little cinematic. After one of the levels ends, we see Bond hop on a submarine, put in a code to deactivate an alarm, and starts making sex with the lady who got blown up earlier.
How can I be sure you're the genuine article?
I intend to prove it to you.
But he only deactivates the alarm if you picked up the key code earlier in the level.
Enter verification code.
Verification code?
If you didn't pick that up, the alarm goes off because James doesn't know the code, and then he gets knocked out by some noxious gas. If that happens, the next level starts with you being in prison on the ship instead of being outside it being all sneaky. These little touches don't change the game significantly, but they do add replay value, which I really appreciate. The game does only have 12 missions, but there is a lot of replayability here. After you complete a mission, you get a score based on how well you played. So how accurate you were, how much damage you took, and even how much you played like Bond. In each level there are certain actions you can take which are considered Bond moves. So taking zip lines, blowing up certain barrels, and taking air ducts. These actions aren't marked in any way, so you need to go around and find them, which again adds to the replayability. If you beat the target score for a level, you unlock something that can be used when replaying that level. With the first mission, if you beat the target score, you get the golden gun. Which is weird because it isn't James Bond who uses the golden gun, but whatever, that's fine. Beat the target score in the first driving mission and you unlock infinite missiles in any other driving mission. And then, after you finish the game, you get a new platinum score to play for. The game will now also add certain 007 logos which you can collect, which again give you bonus points. Beating the platinum scores will give you even more things, including extra maps in the multiplayer modes. Which is a good segue into this game's crowning feature, the multiplayer. The maps are small, the gameplay is simple, but something about the multiplayer here works so well. Games don't need to be complicated to have a great multiplayer, and at the time there weren't many other first-person shooters with multiplayer modes to offer competition. Plus, the multiplayer lets you use some of the gadgets from the single-player levels. One gadget in particular is the Q-Claw, because all the gadgets in this game get named that way.
I provided you with a high-tension grapple line I call the Q-Claw. I've airdropped some Q-Lab equipment into your area. The Q-Pulse is particularly effective in disabling vehicles without damaging their contents. Equipping those Q-Vision goggles should give you an advantage in the dark, 007.
And it's even more annoying because they're naming things after the guy who invented the gadgets, who was called Q. But at the time, John Cleese played him and he was called R. And he's even called R in this game.
Once you have recovered the vials, deliver them to R for analysis.
Anyway, the Q-Claw in the single player can only be used on these little grates. In multiplayer, however, it can be used anywhere. Multiplayer matches then just become anarchic fun as the players are flying all over the level trying to snipe each other. It's incredibly fun even today. So I've been very complimentary to this game that I love. Shocking. But now let's talk about why this game isn't very well remembered today. I think basically it's because as good as this game is, and it was still one of the first-person shooters on the PS2, and it just kept getting beat again and again by newer games. There were eventually 6 James Bond games on the PS2, and unsurprisingly the graphics, the gameplay, the controls, they got better and better with each new game. So now if you want to go back and play a James Bond game on the PS2, you're probably going to pick the one that looks and feels the best. 007 Agent Under Fire is not that game. But even so, the game has its charm, it's not bad by any stretch, and for me, and apparently a lot of other people, it has that all-important nostalgia factor for it. And I need to say that while recording the footage for this video, I played the game from start to finish, and then I just continued playing it because it's still really fun to play. I got all the footage I needed, and then I went back and played it some more because it was really fun. Now I don't know if that's because it is a good game, or it's just my nostalgia, or it's a mix of the two, but I thought it was worth mentioning anyway. So, would I recommend anybody play this game today? As I said, the best part of the game is the multiplayer, and so it's difficult to recommend the game based on that, when there are so many new, more advanced multiplayer games out there. I think if you're a James Bond fan and you want to go and experience every James Bond game out there, if you're a PS2 fan and you've somehow never played this game before, or if you have nice nostalgic memories of this game from being a kid and you want to just relive that, if you're any of those things, yes, I think you should go seek out a copy and go play it, because you will have fun with it, that much I can guarantee. So, thank you for making it this far. If you did, I really enjoyed making this video and I really hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did like this, please do click like and subscribe, and maybe even send this video to your friends. I would really appreciate it. My name is Emily, and I will see you again soon.